Hello, friends. My name is Sachin Bagul, and in today's session, we are going to learn about learning from legends, leading without leading. This topic comes under the CC course, which is Integrated Personality Development, and this topic covers leadership skills, which we may learn from listening to stories of the great legends. In this session, we are going to understand the concept of leading without leading. We also will go through the necessity of learning these ideas. Then we are going to look into some examples from workers, CEOs, teams, and legends. And at the last, we will also find how learning this kind of module will help us developing our personality. In the first place, we need to understand what does this phrase or concept of leading without leading mean. First thing is leadership is like a cultivation. It is said that leader does not drag people upward or pull the people upward. Instead, they create the conditions in which others grow, participate, and own the task. That means they help themselves to grow and they help their objectives to be achieved collectively with each other. When it comes to understanding this phrase, we need to understand that whenever we say about leadership, we have some ideas on our mind. In corporate, a leader is considered to be a CEO. In our general life, we consider leader like a politicians or a sport captain, or we associate leadership with uh, different kind of authorities in the offices. But the true leadership is much deeper than that. I have taken some examples from Prakash Iyer's book, The Habit of Winning, in which he has said that there is a leader inside each and every one of us waiting to emerge and rise to his full potential. Similarly, this phrase means that a leader does not have power, authority, or controls all the time with him. It is possible that the person may not hold the highest post, yet he has something that can influence the culture, boost the morale of the people, and put the people to action. It also means that these kind of people who do not exert their power, but they inspire people by doing the actions. And when people observe them, they create a kind of trust in that particular person or a leader. This kind of authority comes from credibility, that is trust, the character, that is consistency in the behavior, competence, that is the ability that the other people understand about one person and his performance, and of course the service that the person offers to do for others. Often in this kind of leadership, the method is indirect. It sets an example, it supports other people. In this case, the leaders are often listening to the people rather than telling them how to do and then react to them, framing the appropriate vision and making the meaning of every action that the people are doing around him or her. मित्रांनो, लीडर विदाउट लीडिंग विदाउट लिडिंग या सत्रामध्ये आपण लीडिंग विदाउट लिडिंग म्हणजेच नेतृत्व गुण तुमच्याकडे सत्ता नसताना किंवा अधिकार नसतानाही कसे दाखवले जाऊ शकतात याच्यावर आपण विचार करणार आहोत. जेव्हा आपण नेतृत्व गुण किंवा नेता हे म्हणतो, तेव्हा आपल्यासमोर जनरली राजकीय नेते किंवा बिझनेसमधले सीईओज किंवा खेळांमधले कॅप्टन्स अशी लोक येतात. परंतु हे जरुरी नाही आहे की प्रत्येक वेळेस ज्या माणसाला कॅप्टन, लीडर असं म्हणून ओळखलं जातं त्याच्यामध्येच हे गुण असले पाहिजेत. सर्वसाधारणतः त्या एका ग्रुपमधील, एका टीममधील प्रत्येक माणसामध्ये ते गुण कुठे ना कुठे असतात आणि ते दाखवले जायला हवेत. म्हणूनच आपण ह्या फ्रेजचा, ह्या शब्दांचा आज वापर करत आहोत. Let's now understand the philosophy of leadership. What happens when we try to lead? So the first thing that we need to understand that there is a potential of leading in every one of us. We can lead and we can guide other people. We can show the appropriate path to other people by leading to the group. Secondly, it is not possible that every one of us will be designated as a leader in the office, in the company, or maybe in the sports or in the politics. It is necessary to understand that when we lead our life, personal life or family life, there are opportunities to show the people our leadership qualities, and that whenever opportunity come, we have to unleash these leadership qualities. So first thing is that we have potential. Second thing is that whenever in our personal life opportunity comes, we must seize this opportunity and show the leadership qualities. Third thing is that leadership is not just about leading or exerting the power or applying the authority and get the work done, but it is about creating more leaders from the group that you are leading to. Therefore, it is necessary to understand the philosophy of leadership. This is that these statements make leadership a formative, ethical, and developmental process rather than merely administrative role. We need to understand that it always is about learning and putting the things in the practice. Therefore, it is said that it is a developmental process. So let us understand by learning from legends. Friends, we may have heard of Michelangelo, one of the greatest sculpture we heard of till date. Before you can lead a team, you must learn to lead yourself. That means you must understand your own vision, your own abilities. One example goes that there was a great painter and a sculptor, Michelangelo, who created the magnificent 18-foot tall marble statue of David. The story is very interesting. The story goes that there was a mammoth, very huge rock, marble, that was laying around for years, and that rock was dismissed by the great artist as a flawed and worthless. But when Michelangelo was asked why he was banning away at the seemingly useless rock, he replied, "There is an angel inside that rock. I am just setting him free." And he started working on that rock. What is the outcome? As it is said earlier, that there is a huge 18 feet tall, gorgeous sculpture of David or statue of David that he created out of that rock. Thus, it is like a piece of marble through which we need to understand what kind of personality, what kind of leadership we, we are going to get from ourselves and others. There is nothing that is called as flawed or none of or worthless, we may say. We need to understand the worth or qualities of each one of us, the people around us. Similarly, there is often cited example of two workers. A passerby asks one stonebreaker that what is he doing? And the laborer says, I'm working or I'm breaking the stones. When the same question was asked to another laborer, his reply is, I'm helping build the world's tallest cathedral. In this story, a very small story, the task is same, the work is same, the meaning is different. How does or how do these two people have different ideas about the same work? Because the leader has asked them to do that work. In the first case, the leader might have told the laborer just to break the stone, whereas in the second case, the leader must have told the laborer that it is not just a stone breaking, but the stone is going to be used as a monumental cathedral which will be remain there for centuries together, and thus that motivate the laborers. Hence, a quiet leaders do not merely assign work, they give work with a larger purpose, and when the purpose is clear, the other team members do that enthusiastically. Let us now understand how different leadership qualities and how different leaders, how the stories of different leaders or legions can teach us some lessons. Leaders often teach us by serving. There is a very famous story about Ratan Tata that it was early days of Nelco, one of the subsidiary companies of Tata Group. Ratan Tata was driving to Nashik with a team of senior managers for some establishment part of Nelco, of course. They were on the way to Nashik when their car had a flat tire. The tire got punctured. The managers all stepped out to take a comfort break. Some of them were having chat, some of them were having smoke, leaving the driver to change the tire. Suddenly, they realized Tata was missing. Where was he? He wasn't at a local tea stall or taking a break. While his colleagues were resting, Ratan Tata was busy helping the driver change the tire. His sleeves were rolled up, hands working the jack and spanner, sweat on his brow, and smiles on his face. This is the essence of leading without leading. Great leaders lead from front. In this case, you may see that Ratan Tata, who is the owner of Tata Group, could have taken the break or enjoyed the break and leave the driver to change the tire. However, he did not do so. He himself started to work with the driver and tried to change the tire. This is called as leading from the front. He started serving him his own purpose, and others look at the reaction of others. He never asked other managers to come and help him. He himself did the work, and others were just looking at him. They understood a very important lesson that leaders do not only talk, they do not assign the work, but when time comes, they themselves do the work and demonstrate how the leadership is done. There is another way of leading without leading, that is, leading by sacrifice. Cricket is our favorite game, and it is not just an entertainment, but it gives us a life lesson too. The story goes about Sachin Tendulkar when he, for the first time, debuted in Indian cricket. He was raw talent then, and he was considered as upcoming talented player. However, the real test was when he was hit on his nose by one of the fairest fastball by Wakar Yunus in the fourth test played in Sialkot in 1989. It was Sialkot in 1889, Pakistan. It was a four-test series, and India was in deep trouble, reduced to 38 for four wickets in their second inning. Walking into the high-pressure situation was the 16-year-old debutant Sachin Tendulkar. During his innings, a nasty bouncer from Wakar Yunis hit Sachin squarely on the nose, causing him bleed profusely. It was a terrifying sight, and his batting partner then, Navjot Singh Sidhu, along with a team of physiotherapists, suggested that the young Sachin should retire hurt and return to the dressing room to recover. Instead, Sachin brushed the bloody blood away and uttered two words that would define his genius. He said, "मैं खेलेगा," or "I will play." Sachin stayed on speech, scored 57 runs, and shared 101 run partnership that saved that match. Those two words, "मैं खेलेगा," show the leadership quality, the servitude, and the kind of leadership that Sachin has in himself. It made the Sachin great then after. This is how the great people show they do not become great in one day, but there would be series of this kind of events that would make them great. Let us consider another example from cricket itself. Now, apart from Sachin Tendulkar, in 2002, one of the greatest spinners of Indian cricket, Anil Kumble, was playing in West Indies, and he was when he was batting, he was hit in his face by a brutal delivery from Merv Dillon. Despite spiting blood, Kumble batted for four more overs, and then he has to go to a hospital where he X-ray confirmed that he had a fractured jaw. Now, if somebody has a jaw, he would never play again, at least for next 2 to 3 weeks. However, the next day, the West Indies were batting and were at 123 for 2 with dangerous Brian Lara at the crease. To absolute astonishment of everyone watching, Anil Kumble walked out onto the field with a heavy bandage, fractured jaw, and ready to bowl. Defying logic, immense physical pain, Kumble bowled 14 overs unchanged and successfully took the wicket of Brian Lara. Kumble could have easily stayed in safety of pavilion, cursed his bad luck, and packed his bag for flight to home. Instead, he chose to step into the field. This moment defined his greatness. He showed his willingness to sacrifice his personal interest and endure several personal pain for the larger good of the team. Both of these cases from cricket, Sachin and Kumble, teach us invaluable lesson about leadership and life. There will be times when pressure mounts, when you are injured or facing overwhelming odds, and when easiest option is to throw the towel or to give it a quit. But the true leaders don't hide when the chips are down. They stand up and fight. Therefore, it is important to understand that leadership is always shown in this kind of situations, even if you do not have power. In both cases, you may understand that Anil Kumble was not a captain, neither was Sachin Tendulkar. They were not in the leadership position, but on their days, they have shown the extraordinary resilience and leadership qualities, and hence they were recognized as the greatest after those moments. There is another kind of leadership, another kind of legends who lead by seeing or by creating empathetic atmosphere. When you work in a team or when you lead a team, it is important to understand the concerns, the emotions, and different kind of mental and moral ideas about your teammates. The famous example comes from Michelle Obama when for the first time Barack Obama, the president of America, was elected. This couple, Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, were shifting to White House, the official house of the president. When Barack Obama and Michelle Obama moved into the White House, Michelle did something remarkable that serves as a powerful lesson in people in the management and leadership. Soon after moving in, she invited her senior policy advisors, communication experts, to a meeting. But when these high level advisors walked into the room, they were surprised to find an army of people already there. Michelle had called the entire household staff of the White House, which include cooks, maids, plumbers, electricians, gardeners, and janitors, who kept the White House running. Michelle introduced her advisors by saying, "This is my team that came with me from Chicago," and then pointed to the household staff, adding, "And this is my team that works here already." After allowing everyone to mingle, she delivered a profound message to her senior advisors. She said, "I want you to know that a year from now, you won't be judged based on whether they know you. You will be judged on the basis whether you know their names and them." Hence, she has put the roles in the team upside down. The highly qualified, powerful people like her managers have to deal with the common people like electricians, gardeners, janitors, and plumbers, and maids and cooks. Hence, unless and until these two teams work hand in hand, she understood that it would be difficult on her part to keep running the White House smoothly. Hence, that shows the leadership quality. That shows that how empathy, understanding of the feelings and emotions, and creating oneness in the team is important. This is how true leaders know the importance of focusing on their lives and efforts on their teams rather than the spotlight on themselves. There are another kind of leaders who lead in the dark when there are no opportunities around, and when you have to face a kind of amun- amnesty around. There is a famous story about the first group of Iranian people, which today we know as Zoroastrian people, when they for the first time appeared on the seashores of India, Gujarat, in a small village called as Sanjan. The king, called as Jadirana, was there, and the troop of the Zoroastrian people, or the people from Iran or Persia, rather, they wanted they wanted to live here in India. They wanted a refuge in India, and upon requesting the king, the leader of this Persian group, Dastur, was called in the uh, uh, in the court of the king Jadirana. Thus, Dastur approaches the king to request refuge for his people. The king, unsure if his small kingdom can absorb these migrants, and he then gave a symbolic message. He asked to bring out a bowl of milk filled right to the brim. Without saying the word, the king makes his point that the kingdom is full and there is no place for refugees to live. Now, in this case, most people would have given up and would have left the hope that the kingdom of Sanjan would give them the chance. However, in reply to this activity, Dastur did a wonderful activity. He asked for the same ball and asked for a spoonful of sugar. Then he dissolved the sugar within the ball without dropping the milk. And then Dastur sent a powerful message that his people would mingle with the local and sweeten their lives without depressing anyone. Today, as we see that there are number of contributors in modern India who are Persian people. To name some, we have Dr. Satish Dhawan, Dr. Homi Bhabha, and then great Ratan Tata. The list will be so long. These people have not just mingled with Indian people, but they have given India a lot. This was the first time when their leader, Dastur, has given this idea when for the first time he appeared in India. This is how the great leaders lead their people even in the darkness, and not necessarily they would show themselves as the leaders. So, what does this idea conveys? First thing is that a great leader has influence on the people. They have the ability to move others through their trust, clarity, and they set an example, as we have seen in the example of great Ratanji Tata. Secondly, the great leader are good team builders. They value support roles and cultivated shared mission. As we have seen that in case of the stone breakers, in the second case, the man who was breaking the stone knew that he was breaking the stone to establish the monument then after. If the vision is shared, there is always a motivation for your co-workers. Next thing is that the great leaders have vision framing. They help others to see the cathedral, not just a stone, as it is shared in the example recently. They also give a kind of judgment, know when not to over direct or overact, but only to get understood by the people, as we have seen in the case of the Sanjan village and the case of Dastur. Next one is that a great leader have always taken initiatives, act usefully when without title, permission, or spotlight. We have already seen this in the example of Sachin Tendulkar and Anil Kumble. When these people were not entitled as the captains, they still did their work and took initiative even in the adverse conditions. And this is how they are recognized as the great of their times. And lastly, a great leader who do not lead only because they have the titles or attributes or the designations. They allow others to learn and lead the groups as well. As we have seen this in case of Michelle Obama, she offered all of the staff members from White House who had been working there for years together and for the co-workers who have been shifting along with them from Chicago to Washington DC. They Michelle's approach offered them to live together and learn from each other, sharing the common vision. So, what traits shaped by a quiet leadership who do not show as a leadership themselves? First thing is humility, that is, impact without self advertisement. These people do not need to advertise their skills, they are recognized by the people. Any of this example of the legends we have seen, you may say that none of these people which have referred are put themselves in the advertisement. Second thing is that they have empathy. They have ability to understand the needs of others and then they act on that as well. Then they took the responsibility, owning the task important for the team. We have also understood that there is a resilience that is helping the pressure movement. We understood that there is a maturity, see beyond ego and title. Consider the case of Dastur. When the king rejected him, he could have taken it on ego and went away from that code. But he shown his maturity, asked for that sugar and dissolved that sugar in the milk and said that his people would do the same. And this is how he found the refuge in India. As it is mentioned earlier that the great leaders who are the quiet are also having servitude, they serve others as well. Then these people do have self-awareness and from that they speak, act or keep quiet whenever necessary. Importantly, all these people have integrity, they have their own values. There is a very famous attribute to Sachin Tendulkar. It is said that when he was in his ultimate form in 1996 and when World Cup was played in India, then the sponsor of World Cup was a cigarette company, and he had promised his father that he would never promote cigarette, tobacco, or any alcohol, and therefore, in his ultimate form days, he used the bat without any kind of sticker on it because if he had to use a sticker of Wills, which at that period of time was a company of a cigarette. This is how integrity works with the great people, and therefore they are known as the great leaders. There are some lines which we may like to remember forever. Let us recap what we have learned so far. There is a leader inside each and every one of us, waiting to emerge. Leaders create leaders, not the followers. The speed of the leader determines the rate of the packs. When the chips are down, two leaders don't hide, they stand up and fight. If you want people to fly higher, don't push them, pull them towards you. And the last one from the last story that we understood is that once the sugar dissolves in the milk, you want people to exclaim how sweet the milk is without separating milk and sugar. At the last, there is a closing thought. Leading without leading means becoming kind of person whose presence gives direction, confidence, and dignity to others. The deepest leaders do not merely produce followers, they awaken agency in others as well, and they create the other leaders. Thank you very much.